The silent invasion. The anomaly appeared without warning. On a routine scan of the Kuiper Belt, the Deep Space Observatory on Europa detected a distortion in the fabric of space, a ripple that shouldn't exist. Dr. Elias Ward stared at the readings in disbelief, his coffee growing cold beside his terminal. Something was coming, and the universe itself seemed to shudder at its approach. "Command needs to see this," he whispered, his fingers flying across the holographic interface. "Right now." 3 days later, Earth's Unified Defense Council gathered in the underground chambers beneath Geneva. Admiral Zhao's weathered face appeared grim on the central display as he addressed the assembled leaders from his post on Mars. "The anomaly has grown. Whatever it is, it's consuming light and matter as it expands. We've lost contact with our outposts beyond Neptune." His voice remained steady, but fear lingered beneath his professional demeanor. "This isn't a natural phenomenon." General Rivera stood, her uniform crisp despite the late hour. "Is it a weapon? Are the Siraki finally making their move?" "Negative," Zhao replied. "The Siraki have withdrawn their entire fleet to their home systems. According to our embassy on Centauri Prime, they're as afraid as we are." That's when Commander Maya Chen spoke up. Until then, she had been quietly observing from the back of the room, analyzing data on her neural implant. As head of Special Operations Intelligence, her presence at such meetings was often merely procedural. Not today. "It's the Void Collective," she said, her voice cutting through the murmurs. The room fell silent. The ancient threat that the Galactic Council dismisses as legend. Admiral Zhao's hologram flickered. "Commander, those are just stories." "With respect, Admiral, they're not." Maya projected her findings onto the central display. "I've been tracking unusual communications between council races for months. They've known something was coming but chose to keep it quiet. The void isn't myth. It's a highly advanced hive consciousness that consumes entire civilizations." The next week proved her right. Humanity's outermost colonies went dark one by one. Pluto Station. The mining facilities on Eris. 5,000 lives snuffed out in silence. Then came first contact. The Void Collective's ambassador, if it could be called that, materialized simultaneously in every government center across Earth and Mars. Its form shifted constantly, a swirling mass of darkness studded with points of light like stolen stars. "Your existence is inefficient," it stated, its voice resonating directly in the minds of all present. "You will be optimized. Resistance only delays the inevitable." Hours later, the reports from Jupiter's moons confirmed humanity's worst fears. The void entities didn't just kill, they absorbed. Consciousness, knowledge, technology, all harvested and integrated into their collective. Earth's defenses might as well have been stone spears against nuclear bombs. Humanity turned to the Galactic Council, the confederation of advanced species that had grudgingly accepted Earth into its ranks just 2 decades earlier. Their response came swiftly, a withdrawal of all support. The council races were retreating to their core worlds, abandoning the younger species to their fate. "The preservation of advanced civilizations takes priority," the Arcturian delegate announced dispassionately. "Lesser species serve as buffer zones. This is regrettable but necessary for galactic survival." In the stunned silence that followed, Maya Chen made a decision. While the council members argued about evacuation routes and preservation protocols, she slipped away to a secure terminal and accessed classified files she wasn't supposed to know existed. Project Lazarus. Buried deep in Earth's historical archives were references to an encounter centuries earlier, before humanity achieved interstellar travel. A crashed alien vessel in the Gobi Desert, its pilot barely alive long enough to transmit a warning, and the coordinates to something called the Defiance Protocol. For 3 generations, a secret division within Earth intelligence had worked to understand the technology left behind. Maya had discovered their work while hunting for solutions to the Siraki conflict years earlier, but had never found a reason to expose the project, until now. "Dr. Ward," she called, Finding the scientist slumped over his terminal in the research wing. "I need everything you have on quantum resonance fields." Elias blinked at her in confusion. "That's theoretical technology. We don't have the power source to." "We do now." Maya showed him the classified specs, "and we need to implement it on a global scale within 2 weeks." What followed was the greatest covert mobilization in human history. While Earth's official government prepared for evacuation and surrender, Maya assembled a team of the best minds and soldiers humanity had to offer. They called themselves the Last Stand Initiative. The Void Collective continued its inexorable approach, consuming Ganymede and Callisto. Jupiter itself seemed to darken as the entities fed on its storms. With each world they absorbed, the Void grew stronger, integrating new knowledge and resources. Deep beneath Olympus Mons on Mars, Dr. Ward made the breakthrough they desperately needed. "It's not about fighting them directly," he explained to Maya and her team. "Their technology operates on quantum entanglement. They're literally connected across space-time. But that's also their weakness." He pointed to the simulations running on the lab's main display. "If we can generate a counter-resonance field, we can disrupt their collective consciousness. For a few critical moments, they'll be individuals instead of a hive mind." "And then?" asked Colonel Rice, the Special Forces commander who had joined their cause. "Then we hit them with everything we've got," Maya answered. "Not to destroy them all. That's impossible. But to make them reconsider whether humanity is worth the cost." When the first Void ships appeared in orbit around Mars, Earth's official defense forces engaged as planned. A desperate, doomed effort to buy time for the evacuation ships. No one expected them to win. No one except Maya Chen. As the battle raged above, her team activated the network of resonance generators they had secretly installed across Mars. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Void ships faltered, their perfect coordination suddenly disrupted. Some crashed into each other, while others fired at empty space. Colonel Rice led the counterattack, his ships targeting the largest Void vessel with experimental weapons based on the ancient technology. The massive entity shuddered, its surface rippling as though in pain. For the first time, humanity witnessed a Void entity retreat. But their victory was short-lived. The remaining Void ships regrouped, adapting to the disruption faster than anticipated. They descended on the Martian surface with terrible purpose, targeting the generator network. "We've bought some time," Maya told the emergency council session. "But Mars is lost. We need to implement the full Defiance protocol on Earth, immediately." Admiral Zhao, who had witnessed the battle from his command ship, nodded grimly. "Whatever you need, Commander. The official chain of command is now behind you." As evacuation ships carried Mars colonists toward Earth, Maya's team raced to deploy the technology planet-wide. They had 3 days before the Void would reach Earth. 3 days to prepare humanity's last stand. In a surprising development, a Sireki battle group appeared at the edge of Earth's defense perimeter. For decades, the insectoid species had been humanity's most bitter rival, competing for the same inhabitable worlds. Now their supreme strategos requested permission to approach. "We have observed your resistance," the Sireki leader stated. "While the council races hide, humans fight. The Sireki respect strength." The massive aliens' compound eyes reflected the holographic display between them. "We offer alliance. Together, perhaps we survive." Maya didn't hesitate. "We accept." As Earth's forces integrated with the Sireki fleet, Dr. Ward made his final adjustments to the global resonance network. Everything was in place. Now they could only wait for the darkness to arrive. The Void Collective came not as ships this time, but as a wave of pure darkness that eclipsed the sun. Earth's final hour had arrived. The Defiance Protocol. The darkness above Earth rippled like oil on water, blocking out the stars as it spread across the sky. From command centers around the globe, humanity watched in silent dread as the Void Collective positioned itself for the final assault. This was no mere invasion force. It was an existential threat that had devoured dozens of worlds on its inexorable march through the galaxy. In the hardened bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Commander Maya Chen stared at the tactical display, her face illuminated by the eerie glow of emergency lighting. Beside her, Admiral Zhao and the Siraki Strategos Krivex studied the enemy's formation with compound eyes that missed nothing. Their configuration is different from what we faced at Mars, Krivex noted, mandibles clicking with tension. They have adapted. Maya nodded grimly. They always do. That's why we can't use the same approach twice. She turned to Dr. Ward, who was monitoring the global network of quantum resonance generators. Status: all systems at 98%, he reported. But Maya, the simulations suggest will only disrupt their collective consciousness for about 6 minutes before they adapt. 6 minutes to change the fate of our species, Admiral Zhao murmured. Not much time. It'll have to be enough. Maya activated the global command channel. All forces, prepare for Operation Defiance. This is not just about survival. It's about showing the universe that humanity does not surrender, does not break, and does not run. Across Earth and throughout the combined human Siraki fleet, soldiers and civilians prepared for what might be their final stand. Unlike the council races who had abandoned the younger species, humanity had chosen to fight, not just for themselves, but for every world that might lie in the void's path. The attack began without warning. The darkness above Earth fractured into thousands of smaller entities that plummeted toward the planet's surface. Defense satellites fired automatically, catching some with high-energy beams that caused the entities to dissolve into sparkling dust. But for every one destroyed, a dozen more broke through. They're targeting the generator nodes, Dr. Ward reported, his voice tight with urgency, just like on Mars. As expected, Maya replied calmly. Activate the decoys. Across Earth's surface, thousands of false energy signatures flared to life, confusing the void's targeting systems. Meanwhile, the real generators remained hidden, shielded by technology reverse-engineered from the ancient alien vessel. Colonel Rice's voice crackled over the comms. Enemy forces breaching upper atmosphere. Ground teams engaging. On screens throughout the command center, footage showed the first ground battles. The void entities took multiple forms, some like liquid shadow that flowed over buildings and vehicles, others solid and angular, advancing with mechanical precision. Where they touched human technology, it either failed or turned against its operators. Now, Elias, Maya ordered. Dr. Ward activated the Defiance Protocol with a single command. Across the globe, quantum resonance generators powered up simultaneously, creating an invisible field that enveloped the entire planet. For a heartbeat, nothing seemed to happen. Then the void entities faltered. Some froze in place, while others moved erratically, crashing into buildings or each other. The perfect coordination that made them so lethal had been temporarily disrupted. All forces, execute Phase 2, Maya commanded. The combined human Siraki fleet descended from orbit, targeting the largest void concentrations with weapons specially calibrated to disrupt their quantum structure. On the ground, Special Forces teams deployed devices nicknamed light bombs. Not because they generated light, but because they temporarily forced the void entities into a singular, vulnerable state. For precious minutes, humanity seized the advantage. Void entities fell by the hundreds, their dissolved essence scattering like dark mist. But as Dr. Ward had predicted, the collective was already adapting. 4 minutes remaining on effective disruption, he warned. That's when Maya implemented the strategy she had kept secret from all but her closest advisors. Activate the quantum portal. In the Antarctic research station that had served as the original home of Project Lazarus, scientists activated technology that no human had fully understood until Ward's breakthroughs. A massive quantum portal stabilized, creating a direct connection to the heart of the Void Collective. The central consciousness that directed the entire invasion. Colonel Rice, you have a go, Maya ordered. Rice and a joint human-Siraki strike team had already positioned themselves at the portal site. "Understood, Commander. It's been an honor." With those words, the elite squad entered the portal, carrying the most powerful quantum disruptor ever created, a device that would almost certainly not allow for their return. Above Earth, the battle intensified as the Void regained coordination. Ships from both sides spiraled through the atmosphere, wreathed in fire. On the ground, defensive lines buckled as Void entities resumed their inexorable advance. 2 minutes, Dr. Ward announced, his voice strained. In the heart of the Void Collective, Colonel Rice and his team fought through impossible geometries and defenses that attacked the mind as much as the body. Several soldiers fell, their consciousness instantly absorbed by the darkness. But Rice pushed forward, the quantum disruptor strapped to his back growing increasingly unstable. "Almost there," he reported, his transmission garbled by interference. "We can see the central node. It's beautiful in a terrible way." Maya closed her eyes briefly. "Complete the mission, Colonel." The command center fell silent, all eyes on the tactical display where Reyes's life signs continued to broadcast. Then, without warning, every screen went blank. For a terrifying moment, Maya thought they had failed. Then, a shockwave of energy rippled across every sensor on Earth. Above the planet, the Void entities convulsed simultaneously. Some dissolved entirely, while others retreated in what could only be described as panic. "What just happened?" Admiral Zhao demanded. Dr. Ward stared at his readings in amazement. "They did it. The disruptor didn't just attack the collective's physical form. It rewrote part of its quantum structure. They can't maintain cohesion in our space-time anymore." Victory did not come without cost. Earth's surface bore the scars of battle. Cities in ruins, millions lost. Colonel Rice and his strike team were gone, their sacrifice creating the opportunity for humanity's survival. But unlike the ancient civilizations that had fallen before them, humanity had forced the Void Collective to retreat. In the aftermath, as reconstruction began, the galactic landscape changed dramatically. The Council races emerged from hiding, expecting to find Earth a barren husk. Instead, they discovered humans and Siraki working side by side to rebuild, their combined technology now incorporating elements of the ancient defenses. "We won't forget who stood with us and who abandoned us," Maya told the Arcturian delegate who arrived to assess the situation. "Humanity and our allies will no longer be considered lesser species." The delegate's translucent skin flushed with embarrassment. "The Council wishes to express regret for its strategic withdrawal." "Save it," Maya replied. "We're not interested in regret. We're interested in preparation. The Void will return eventually, and next time, all sentient species will stand together." In the months that followed, ships from dozens of worlds arrived at Earth. Not Council representatives, but other lesser species who had been inspired by humanity's defiance. Together, they formed a new alliance, one based not on technological advancement, but on the determination to survive. On the 1-year anniversary of what became known as Victory Day, Maya Chen stood before the United Earth Parliament, now expanded to include representatives from 7 allied species. "When the darkness came, we were told to accept our fate," she addressed the assembly. "We were abandoned by those who claimed to be more advanced, more worthy of survival. But humanity chose a different path. We chose to fight not just for ourselves, but for all who would be consumed if we fell." She gestured to Dr. Ward and the Siraki strategos who stood beside her. "And in doing so, we discovered that true strength lies not in technology or power, but in refusing to surrender hope even when all seems lost. We learned that sometimes the universe needs someone stubborn enough to stand against the impossible." In deep space, at the new boundary established by quantum beacons, patrol ships maintained vigilant watch. The Void had withdrawn, but Maya knew better than to believe they had seen the last of the collective. Yet for the first time, she felt genuine hope for the future. Humanity had looked into the abyss and refused to blink. They had shown the galaxy that sometimes the most powerful force isn't advanced technology or ancient wisdom. It's simply the unwillingness to give up when everyone else has. As new defense systems came online and the alliance grew stronger, a message was transmitted to the stars beyond their borders, encoded in quantum frequencies that even the void would understand. Earth stands, humanity endures, and we will never stop fighting.